Hey, what's going on, my friends? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor, and today is going to be a full moon energy update for April 29th, 2018. It's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal and very powerful, super potent time, and I know you're feeling it. So the whole name of the game this time around is about alignment with your purpose, your destiny, your role in the whole. You're going through an awakening right now. You're awakening up to the fact that you are part of something very big, the whole, the collective. And there's a part of you aching to find your place in the whole. And well, here's what's happening. The whole is getting impatient with us. And you might be feeling like forced into your purpose a little bit, forced into alignment, stuck when you're trying to go in a familiar direction that might have been appropriate at the time and no longer is working, because it's time to get more into alignment and the wait is over. And it can be uncomfortable if you're resisting a lot, if you're not being flexible enough. But if you can be fluid like Bruce Lee and like water, then the whole will sort of scoop you up and put you where it wants you, and that will be, ironically, the best place possible for you, where you feel amazing, where you're abundant. All good things come to you when you are connected in that way, and this full moon is all about bringing you to that much deeper level of connection, okay? So as I always do, I will go ahead now and break down this energy report into a few different themes. Before I do, if you're new to my channel, I just want to say what's up to you, and I appreciate you having here. I have a free guided meditation that's perfect for people who are going through the awakening process. It's free, again, down below in the description box. Check it out if you'd like, and I will now get into the video. Number one, sort of what I was talking about, is life refinement. Again, there's the universal force. It has a will of its own, in a sense, and it wants to express itself through you. And you might find that in very varying different ways that you are finding yourself being sort of coaxed into a particular direction. Now, sometimes this can be stressful if your mind doesn't believe it's possible for you, or if you're insisting on going there when you really should be going there. It can be kind of nutty. And I'll give it a kind of a softer example. My wife's experiencing, and just to kind of show you how tricky this can be. So she, at the core, wants to be a shaman. But to her, she's a mother of three. We have 3 young kids, and she's like extremely busy every day, as am I, and we're just busy parents, basically. And there's just all these ideas of what does it take to be a shaman? Is this realistic? And there's resistance she's experiencing, and there's some doubt. So what the way this can happen is, you know what? Because I don't believe that's possible, I'm gonna do these other things that are similar, that I sort of have a mediocre, lukewarm fondness of, and that's what I'll do. That's safer, more practical. But again, the universe is like, no, I don't care what you think about what's possible. We know you, and we know what's possible, and you gotta be going that way. So she's getting all these people, a lot of you guys actually, people here, I mentioned this, they're reaching out to her with this information and guidance. I was just speaking to one of my clients yesterday, and he recommended this like shaman apprenticeship thing online. I told my wife, and she's like, you know what, dude, she knows that she's getting pulled back, sort of gently in her case, just pulled back into this direction, that even though her mind, you know, it raises a lot of doubts and practical reasoning why it's not possible, the universe is sort of telling her through signs and synchronicity and other people reaching out that, listen, go that way. You know you want to go that way, so just go that way, because we don't make mistakes. Number 2, if you can be flexible and allow this transition, then you will experience a very high degree of excitement and passion and joy and like, yes, in the prospect of this new direction, this new course, this new path you're being compelled to walk. The more in alignment you get, the more good you feel, the more connected you feel, the more abundance flows in, the more you attract cool, high vibe, high resonance relationships, the more you are living a life that is a representation of your preferences on all levels. And if you can allow yourself to go in this new direction, then you will experience that in a very profound way, which is not only nice and validating and confirming, it just feels good all around. Number 3 is major connection with the other side. I'm hearing all sorts of stories. And again, I talk about this oftentimes during the moons, because it's when we reach new levels, new degrees of connection, of perception of that which was once invisible to us is no longer so invisible. The veil is in fact thinning. So there are many different ways this can play out. I'm going to share with you a story that happened to me this last Monday that I was on the fence about talking about, but I'm feeling kind of bold today, so I'm just going to do it. I was here, right? I came to the Red Rocks in my truck. I wanted to come out here and think and just sort of brainstorm. I do that sometimes. And I was staring off, and no one else was around, staring off over the mountains. And I noticed what appeared to be a ship / being. I know that sounds kind of weird. It's what I saw. And it was not physical, not like this spaceship like you would see like a rock or my phone I'm looking at here. It was like less dense. It was sort of like etheric looking, but certainly discernible. And once I sort of like, my mind realized what I was looking at, it started moving around. And it was like very obvious. What my initial perception could have been said, yeah, you're just sort of like, you're blurring your vision or something. But when it started moving, it became more and more clear and discernible. And I just had the impression, I didn't know this, there was no communication as of yet. I had the impression that they wanted me to kind of know they were there. So I kind of like in my mind was like reaching out. I was like, what's up? What's this all about? And once I started to initiate some semblance of contact, if you will, with my intention, I got it. In fact, I wrote down a few notes just to kind of go over what I was, in a sense, told in my own sort of unique way. I was like, what is needed? Like, what is needed for like us collectively? And they straight up said self-empowerment. And I was like, okay, well, what do I do? How do I help? And I got this verbatim. Help people learn lessons by documenting your own. It's so simple, I know. But it's like exactly what I do, ironically. And then the third question I had was, how can I expand my business? It was all about like my own personal goals. And they took that as an opportunity to kind of bring to my awareness the fact that I had this experience, and that was my third question, all about my self-interest. The next question was, from them in a sense, how ready are you to be more like us? Meaning not aliens or ETs, more benevolent, more truly living, for the whole. Like, how ready are you? And like the organic response that I couldn't help but have was a pause. I wondered, like, wow. It really, I had to kind of like, it was not just an immediate yes. Where I truly was not totally on board for that. And that was sort of like a message, like, listen, dude, you're sharing on YouTube, you're helping people, and you're doing a great job, but that's an example of how far you have to go collectively. Say, it's kind of like we're on this ascension, but there's a long journey ahead, and at the root, what is needed is self-empowerment. Anyways, not important what all that was. My point is that happened to me. That's a pretty bizarre thing I just shared. Most circles of people I know would just scratch their heads, wondering what the hell was all that about, Vic? That sounds really wacky, dude. But it happened, man. You can believe me or not, I don't care. And I'm in a position where I share about this stuff, so naturally I get people reaching out, sharing other experiences, not always with the ETs, just in general, stuff like that, things that would just boggle the mind. Like, I can sense my grandmother then follow me around, entering my dreams. I can see angels, fairies. All this stuff is now making itself known in our own sort of individual way. It might not happen for you the way it happened for me, but there's probably something, some kind of non-physical assistance knocking at your door, just saying, hey, we're here, we're with you. So anyways, during the moons, this can be more obvious. This can happen more and more. And I just wanted to share that. Again, I was on the fence about talking about that, but I'm going to do it. So, but anyways, now I'll move on. Number 4, sort of going along with number 3 in a bit more of a general way, is a new level of awareness, reaching new heights, new levels of consciousness. And it could express itself in many ways. The way it's happening for me is, as I shared in a recent video, I'm becoming more aware of like the overlapping parallel realities and parallel incarnations that I have, and I'm beginning to connect to them in sort of mild ways. And ironically, I just happened to open up this book I bought a long time ago, not that long ago, by Dr. Joe Dispenza called, what's it called? The name is escaping me. It's his newest book, Becoming Supernatural. If I would have paused much longer, I would have given up, but it popped in my head. Becoming Supernatural. And like the very first portion of the book is it's this story from this like very well-established doctor. He's a very like credible guy. And he straight up had a whole experience where he encountered a parallel future, in a sense, version of himself. And there was this connection. And he went over a couple experiences like that. It's just ironic. I've been having this kind of happen again in kind of a mild way in my life. And I just so happened to kind of open this book. And it's talking all about that. I don't think I've ever read one book that really was so about that exact thing. So my point is, like, as we sort of dip our toes into these new levels of awareness, you can sometimes get assistance and confirmation and other validation and reflections in your external life. Now, me, it was a book. You, it could be a YouTube video. It could be really anything. But the point is, just we are really expanding into more of who we are, which is very exciting and sometimes surprising. And it's just a whole neat thing we're going through here, man. But I just want to throw that out there as well, because I shared my story there. Oftentimes my updates pertain to what's going on with me, and I just share that, and it happens to be going on with others. But in this case, I'm seeing this same theme in many other people as well, which is why I chose to share it. And number 5, kind of returning back to our initial theme, it's yielding to our destiny. Allowing yourself to be vulnerable and perhaps go in new directions that it both excites you and scare you, and leave behind the familiar. There might be a growing awareness that the familiar, it's not as in alignment as you thought it was anyways. And I think we both know that when we cling to the old in that way, it never ends well. It just continues to become seen and experienced as more and more and more dissonant. And it's better just to let go and not avoid the inevitable. And it's not because, oh, wow, God or the higher universe is taking me here. Now it's oh boy, oh yay, because this new path is going to be full of wonder and excitement and adventure. And essentially, all it really happens as we go towards our excitement, the pull of destiny, if you want to call it, is we just find and reclaim and embody more of ourselves. This is sort of like a maze back to ourself. And we always know which direction to go, even if there's a fork in the road, by our degree of excitement. And it can be a smooth journey if we can get out of our minds more and let go and start letting our intuition guide us more and more and more. This takes practice because our mind, it likes to clamp down whenever these kind of things happen. I experienced this yesterday. I'm finding myself pulled into a new direction where I'm going to start helping people do what I do, essentially. Start putting more energy into helping people who I can see have a message, a talent, a passion, create a career out of it so that they can actually do it on a larger level and help a lot of people. And that's something that I suspected at some point I would be doing. But the universe, at least for me, is saying, you're doing that and you're going to do it now because the time is ripe for it. But for me, I was like, I wasn't really getting the message. I was putting the same degree of energy into all of my existing things, and I was running into this crazy resistance. An example is yesterday, how this can play out. I was going to shoot this particular video, and not only was I having a very difficult time getting in my zone, getting into my center, but it was like the moment I started to shoot, the landscape people around my apartment, they were blaring, and I was like, oh, I was getting all frustrated. So I kind of calmed myself down because I have kind of a deadline with this. And then they finally went away. I was like, okay, good. I kind of got myself centered. I laid on this acupressure mat that helps me kind of get into my zone. And I went back to shoot the next video, and I swear to you, the moment I hit record, knock, 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 the landlord, well, not the landlord, but the maintenance people, they're coming to fix our dishwasher. And it was like, oh my goodness. And then I had calls about half hour after that, so I ran out of time. And those are just examples of how life can kind of show up and block you, but for good reason. Because saying, listen, Victor, you're not getting the message. You're continuing with the old song and dance, and there's this whole other domain waiting for you that you're going to love. It's appropriate. You're going to help people as well, and you got to go, man, because the full moon's here, and when the full moon comes, there's less room for sloppiness, less room for acting out of alignment. It can show up physically like that. So that's kind of how it played out for me as an example of how the life can kind of conspire to usher you on a new path. Okay, my friends, I hope you guys have an amazing time. I believe that even though it can be somewhat stressful, sometimes, not always, my wife's having a pretty easy time as an example, but sometimes it can be a bit stressful to yield. Whenever you do, man, it always feels amazing. It's like the lights turn back on again, and things are good. That's how I feel today. Yesterday was just as I described. I kind of downplayed it a little bit. I was really in a funk yesterday because I was resisting, because I was not getting the message that I knew was present. But now that I finally have let go, I said, okay, I'm down. I felt inspired to come out here. I'm happy with the way the video came out. I feel good. I shot some other videos. And I feel back in alignment, essentially. I feel that connectedness, that high degree of excitement and passion. And that comes when you yield to your path. So my friends, I'll leave you with that. I recommend you yield to your path. I wish you luck in doing so. And I'm here for you. I'll see you soon in the next video. Have an amazing day and an amazing full moon. Namaste.